Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome to Ultimate General American Revolution. This game has just been announced over on the Ultimate General Facebook page and oh my god, am I so excited. I honestly think that this could be a real game changer for grand strategy games because what this game is trying to do is basically everything I've ever wanted from a grand strategy game, so I'm so excited. What we're going to do is we're just going to run through the announcement page, kind of talk about a lot of the features that they have in the game. They kind of outline a lot of what they're trying to do, and it's super exciting. I'll also leave a link to this post down below in the description, so if you don't care what I have to say about this and you just want to check out the game for yourself, I'll leave a link down below so you can just close this video and check that out. I probably shouldn't be turning people off my videos, but for those of you who are interested, let's run through what Ultimate General American Revolution is all about. And if you don't know, there has been several other, installments to the Ultimate General series. We've had Gettysburg, which was the first one. We've had the American Civil War, and then we've also had a naval one, which was the most recent engagement installment in the series. Basically, in them previous games, you would generally go through a linear progress of the American Civil War or the Battle of Gettysburg, and basically just complete out all the major battles or all the major days with your forces in an RTS battlefield, moving your regiments around and outmaneuvering your opponents, gaining supplies, securing objectives and funds by completing missions, which you would then use to bring your army forward onto the next mission, improving their equipment, their numbers, their veterancy. Your generals would also improve, and it does seem like American Revolution, the new installment, has all of that and so much more. Oh, I'm so excited. So let's go ahead and read a little bit of what they say American Revolution is all about. American Revolution is a sandbox strategy game featuring the epic historical period during the rebellion of the American colonies against the British Empire. Take on the role as the British or American colonists and fight for territory control over North America. A gripping real-time campaign awaits you. Oh baby, a real-time campaign on a detailed 3D map where you can build your army and navy, so this is not only going to be army but also naval combat, construct military infrastructure, fully command your armies on a regimental level. If you want even more action, you can fully zoom in and fight massive battles on a battalion level, which is so exciting. So you're going to have this kind of grand campaign where you're moving around your big blocks of armies from city to city, securing territory, and seemingly from that important military infrastructure, and I assume civilian infrastructure buildings like maybe taking Pennsylvania or something would be really valuable because of all the certain resources it has, and we'll get onto that as we go further along down the post. But super exciting. Beforehand, the the Ultimate General games have been kind of much more linear, where you do just progress through a set of missions, and some are randomly generated, but for the most part you are just kind of progressing through this linear stage. Whereas with the real-time 3D map, this is all going to be kind of up to chance. It really depends on what you do and the AI does on the campaign and how it reacts to what you're doing. So basically, it very much becomes, as they say, a sandbox game where anything is possible, and that's super, super exciting. It also obviously talks about the way that you can zoom in and fight the battles, so obviously the great combat in the previous Ultimate General games are going to be making their way forward into this one, and it's actually going to be tied to something a lot more important than has been in previous games. So when you do lose, you fight a very brutal battle, that is going to trickle back onto the campaign map, and you're going to have to resupply their guns, resupply their bullets, resupply the soldiers, and that's obviously also going to be tied to a lot of other stuff as well. So next they say, fighting in real time on the global map with regiments and naval squadrons, move your generals to gain the tactical control of the situation in a minimal way. The presence of the general makes it possible to control the troops or ships directly on the map, activating maneuvers, cut supply routes, utilizing different types of terrain, flanking with cavalry. Battles can be fought with more detail and full tactical control by zooming in further on the map. So I'm not sure what they're exactly kind of saying. Is this all going to be happening in real time? Am I going to have to zoom in to command it, or is it going to kind of be like Total War where two armies hit into each other and then all of a sudden we pause the game, I jump in, I fight this battle, and then I zoom out and the map continues, or is this all going to be happening in real time? Am I going to have to zoom in, micro this battle, zoom out and micro other stuff? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what their approach is. Hopefully, I don't know. I honestly don't know what one I prefer. I guess for the sense of like micromanaging, probably zooming in and just like pausing the campaign map and fighting this battle out is probably a good idea. But also that does, you know, provide you with like a constant gameplay loop. Like I have to be zoomed in, I micro zoom out, and I have to do some adjustments to a different army that maybe Washington's controlling on a different part of the campaign, maybe attacking a different place, you know, around the map, and I have to zoom in and try and control 4 battles or something. That could be very interesting. And also, maybe each one of these engagements, so you can see right here, my mouse is over it right now, you've got a 3,500 stack and a 1,000-man stack. Maybe each of these stacks will be fighting individually, and when I zoom in, I'll have to zoom in on each individual one, and there'll be different battlefields. That'll be very, very interesting. Here we get a little look at one of the big battles, and I'm glad to see this. The previous game, the naval installment that they recently added into the Ultimate General series, the battles themselves were quite small, and it does seem like they've very much gone back to more of the American Civil War variant of the battles. Obviously, the American Revolution is a much smaller kind of troop size on the battlefield than the American Civil War. There are a lot less numbers with armies only, you know, ranging up to 20,000 in the biggest ones, whereas the American Civil War is obviously a lot larger. But it does also seem like, to compensate for that, the actual just regiments themselves are a lot smaller. I believe in the American Civil War ones, you know, you've got the Pettigrew, which is numbering like 3,000 men, whereas down here you see a lot smaller units. But that's fine. There's obviously, you know, they zoom in on the terrain a bit more. The scale does still feel great, and it'll be very exciting. Obviously, you got Washington here going up against Cornwallis. So yeah, again, battles are great. So very exciting. So this is just a little bit more about the battles. If you choose to fight the battle with a full tactical control, the regiments become divided into smaller battalions. So obviously you'll go from like this, where you have 3,500, and then they'll be split up into smaller regiments, like so right here. So yeah, divided into smaller regiments in real time, creating a dazzling and realistic combat experience. Troops are positioned in a landscape according to their placement they have on the map at any given time. Some will engage the enemy immediately, others can be repositioned in deployment zones, while those which were further away may join as reinforcements. That's so exciting. That is something that I've been wanting in Total War for so long. If an army is relatively close on the campaign map, but a lot further away than just like right next to the other army, they should be delayed, much like they were in Medieval 2. There was a chance in Medieval 2 where the army would, if it was far away, would take a lot longer to get to the battlefield. And I think that's a great idea to bring into this game, because so often in so many of the American Civil War battles, and also in the Revolutionary War battles, there were, you know, people that the alarm was raised at a local fort that a battle was taking place, and then the garrison would come out and start their march to join the battle 3 hours later or something, but then they'd run into like skirmishes or something. And it's quite cool that they are trying to represent that in the game, and you can probably see that here. That these, like, this is a battle going on right now, so it's these 3 regiments going in against these guys, and then these reinforcements are making their way in, and obviously these will take a lot longer to arrive on the battlefield, on the front line, than say this, which does make me think that this is gonna maybe be like a simultaneous like zoom in. Like, this battle is going to be going on whilst these units move on the main campaign map. It does kind of make me feel like, you know, there isn't going to be like a pause button, like the battle's going to start, we're going to just jump into the battle and then jump out, and then time will continue. This does very much make it feel like that, you know, everything is going to be running in real time, whether you're fighting a big battle or not. The campaign map is still going to be running in the background, which is very interesting. I know Knights of Honor do that, where the campaign map does run in the background when you're fighting a battle, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see how that works, and I'm very excited, because I think that could provide with some really exciting gameplay, as long as it's not like super fast and things actually take a little while to do, because yeah, that'd be pretty brutal. This is also something that is very, very exciting. yeah, very exciting indeed, is delayed reports. Some games have tried to do this, but it hasn't really like ever like come to fruition in a lot of bigger games. Basically, you will have amount of intel on your opponents depending on the loyalty of the provinces. So I assume that's going to be something where you're trying to flip towns to your side, depending on what faction you are playing, whether it's the British or the Americans, and they'll be giving you intel on the enemy troop positions. You're also, depending on your espionage level, you'll be kind of getting intel on where the enemy armies are. However, these can be false and not exactly true 100% of the time. So you might see that there's a battle here, and I'm kind of a little bit confused why, if, like, for example, the American soldiers are fighting in this battle, why can't I see that? Is it because I don't have a general there, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on? I don't know. Obviously, this is the first announcement. We'll have to find out a bit more about the game, obviously, as we get more developer logs, hopefully. But yeah, apparently there's been a battle here. I can't see what's going on here, so I don't exactly know what the numbers are. I can see that Cornwallis is up in Boston, or Cornwallis, sorry, is up in Boston with his regiments ready to move up. And you know, as Washington, I'm going to go in and reinforce this engagement. The last report shows that there's British regiments as well at Newport as well. And if I move over, you can see that, you know, Washington's going to go and send his soldiers in as this battle is going over. And then by the time I get there, I can see that the battle has already ended. It ended a while ago because I've now moved Washington up, and my line of sight, I guess, can now see this. And I also love the idea of all this fog of war. But yeah, all of a sudden, Cornwallis has also moved his regiments down. So, you know, obviously, I've moved in to reinforce whatever battle was going on. I wonder if it's going to be kind of like a militia, like rising up, and that's what British have to deal with. And then the main American army is like moving forward. But yeah, you know, as you can see right here, I'm pretty close to fighting this, but, you know, Cornwallis is up in Boston according to my intel. But boom, I've got a tiny bit closer, and Cornwallis is up here with his entire British army ready to, ready to push down. So again, that kind of delayed espionage is so cool. Like, I could be moving throughout all this fog of war, and if you don't have good reports on my armies could be somewhere completely different to where you think they are, and that just provides so much cool strategy on the campaign map. You know, it's all about outthinking your opponent. I absolutely love that. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. Making decisions, that just adds in so much strategy level, and like having delayed reports as well is super cool as well. And I think also somewhere they do mention that it does take a little while for your soldiers to start moving from your commander as well. So it's going to be like the actual position of like, Washington gives an order, and then it's going to take a little bit of time for that order to make its way to the regimental level, for then that regiment to start moving. Really cool. Next, they talk about Army, Navy, and Supply. So, if you guys have played any of the previous Ultimate Generals, I imagine the Army system is going to work pretty similar to that, where you do build regiments. You can see a bit of a picture here if I just zoom in a little bit, like so. You can see that a little bit better. I think that's, yeah. I probably should have been zoomed in from the beginning, but it's all good. Yeah, so you can see it a bit better about the actual building. So you'll be building up these army managements. I imagine each one of these is an army. You can see that they are replenishing over time as well, right here. And you can see like what I assume that their total manpower can be per regiment in the division, and you can see the regiments actually replenishing. Over here, you can see their rifles. So this was a big thing in the previous games of actually outfitting your soldiers with the right weapon, and each weapon did do certain stuff. So you could import weapons from like France or something, and they would be really strong at like more melee focus. So you could really outfit your regiments a bit more of like if you wanted sharpshooters, faster reloads, other stuff along them lines. And I believe this bar, if it's anything like the previous games, like veterancy, so you could resupply a brigade or a regiment with more veteran recruits, rather than just like the fresh ones. And also, you can also assign generals to them as well right here, and these generals in the previous games leveled up, they improved stats. They could also get wounded and killed in battle as well, so if a regiment takes heavy casualties, the commander has a chance of dying, or the leader of the regiment had a chance of dying, so you actually really got to kind of feel, and you could upgrade them with special perks here as well. So super cool stuff, just kind of being brought over from the previous games. This, however, is new. So this is the military infrastructure. Suggests that you will be able to develop your regions provided with food, weapons, and ammunition for your armies and navies, building military structures to train special recruits or host your army during harsh winters. Again, that's great news as well, that the winters are going to cause an issue throughout the game. You know, you're not going to want to really be fighting in winter, so that's kind of cool. And if you are, you're going to need to have good supply lines. You can build infrastructure to raise supplies, plan supply routes that reach your armies whilst they are fighting. Again, that all sounds so cool. Actually having to think about reinforcing your soldiers with weapons, and the next one definitely does say that. Actually having to, you know, think about, oh god, my army's been fighting, I need to get them food, winter clothes, more cannonballs, more bullets, more guns. Oh, that's just cool. And right here as well, you can see a bit more. So I assume this is going to be like the infrastructure limit, so you can only build up to 15 whatever here. You have like the manpower, the cash, I guess this is food in the city, and also the resource and a garrison thing right here. So you got cores, supply, and ships. You're actually going to have to worry about supply wagons, as it does seem like that is a separate thing from core and ships. And here you go, you got the buildings right there as well. And the priority, I wonder what this is all about. Maybe how often a certain city gets resources would make sense. The next thing we have is supply your troops. Armies or fleets cannot be maintained without an efficient industry base. Producing rifles, cannons, and building ships, a single shot needs powder and a bullet. War requires tons of powder and thousands of bullets. Organizing is priority, prioritizing the production chain to fulfill your army's requirements. So you are actually going to need to constantly reinforce your armies with supply. Again, that's absolutely awesome. Everything I've wanted from a game really has been. And here you go, the last kind of king is just kind of like, I'm not going to run through this as a video, is already stretching on a little bit, and I'm sure you guys are a little bit sick of me, but basically this is just kind of like all the other minor details, some really cool stuff, just talking about basically what you're going to need throughout the game. And yeah, again, you're gonna, and one of the things I think over here, which I was really supply lines, you can actually raid your opponent's supply wagons and ships and stuff, because again, this is a naval and land battlefield, so you can actually cut off supplies from certain armies which are needing to be reinforced, which is so cool. You just navally blockade a city so it can't get supplies to like a city that desperately needs more iron to produce your guns, but because one settlement is blockaded, you're going to have to go through land. And they also talk about how armies themselves can get cut off in enemy territory as well, and if they don't get resupplied, that's going to be a big issue. So all of this, the real-time battles, amazing. The naval and infantry combat, absolutely awesome. The supply, the cities, the fact that the campaign map is matched, it's a decent height map, whereas it's over here. It's matched on the battlefield, so defending terrain is going to be really important. Picking where you fight a battle is going to be important, because if you fight on a hill, you have that hill in the battle. Again, something I wish Total War did more was focus on terrain, because again, 50% of the battle is choosing when and where to have that battle. You know, it makes such a big difference, and I feel like this game is just doing so many things right that I really hope they can pull it off. So right here at the end, we do just have the factions, the American and the British, which we know. And also, if you go right to the bottom, you can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can check it out. Also, if you hit buy now as well, you'll be able to sign up to their newsletter as well and get information. Highly recommend you do. I really hope this game does do well, because it has so much potential to be an amazing strategy game, and honestly a game changer. This game is like starting to do a lot of what I wished so many other AAA titles, Total War, would do. So if they can pull this off and it goes well, I think this could be one of the greatest strategy games we've had in a long time, and it's something that I am personally looking forward to massively. I also really hope they're going to have a multiplayer campaign. It's something I wish the previous games had, and this definitely is the perfect opportunity to have one. Obviously, you know, they might not have the money or the time to develop a, you know, a networks, someone working on the network and stuff like that, but I really hope they do take the time, because I feel like in a game like this, the American Revolution, Civil War, they're just perfect for multiplayer head-to-heads, and something that I think a lot of games, you obviously just don't have the money to do, but definitely miss out on. So I really hope this will have a multiplayer campaign, because it just has so much potential, and with all the awesome stuff I mentioned, so exciting. It really, really is. So yeah, what do you guys think of this? Is this a game you're very excited for after watching this video? Are you a bit skeptical? I think as well that this does get rid of one of my biggest complaints about the previous Ultimate General games, where you would run through a campaign, and regardless of whether or not you slaughtered your opponent, like, you could win the Battle of Bull Run and absolutely massacre the Confederate or Union Army, and it wouldn't really matter for the next one. Whereas, you know, obviously with this one being tied to a proper campaign map that's all running in real time, if you slaughter Cornwallis's army in the field, he's going to have to recruit them soldiers from the population, he's going to have the weapons and the ammunition to resupply them. Like, all of that stuff is going to matter now, and I think that's one of most people's biggest complaints about the previous games, and it seems like they're going to smash it out of the park with this one. You can even see a bit of a supply wagon here as well coming in to resupply your soldiers. So yeah, so I'm really excited. I can't wait for this. Also as well, fun fact, I know this video is running on a bit, but fun fact as well, I'm not sure, I assume he's still working on these games, because he was the original founder, I believe, of Games Lab, or whatever they're called, the developers, it says at the bottom here, of Games Lab. He is Darthmod, the guy who makes Darthmod, or made Darthmod for Total War Empire, and also Napoleon and Shogun as well, is the guy who started the original Ultimate Generals. I assume, again, I'm just kind of speaking out my ass here, but I assume he's still developing and leading these games as well forward. So just a little bit of information, kind of cool right there. So yeah, super exciting. I cannot wait. Hopefully you guys looking forward to this as well. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Is it something you're going to be following very, very closely? And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.